Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at the new entry in a series that's, well, it's basically gaming royalty, isn't it? Known for that pure, high-octane action. Makes you feel unstoppable.
Absolutely. We're talking Doom, The Dark Ages, the latest from id Software, following up Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Big shoes to fill.
Right. And our goal here is to really get inside what this game is actually like. We've dug through everything to figure out, what works, what maybe doesn't quite land, and just give you a really clear picture. Consider it the essential info before you jump in.
And the overall vibe, it's a kick-ass ride. It really delivers that core Doom feeling. It's fun, it's fast. Just a really solid, good old-fashioned video game experience.
Yeah, totally solid. Now, is it going to be everyone's #1 in the modern series? Maybe not. Expectations after Eternal were sky high, right?
For sure.
And maybe for some, it didn't quite hit that same peak across the board. So you see a little bit of disappointment here and there. But fundamentally, it is Doom, no question.
And one area they definitely swung for the fences is the story and presentation. It's much more cinematic this time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got more characters coming and going. Clear reasons given for, why you're doing what you're doing. Lots of effort on those big wow moments.
And visually, it looks incredible. The production value is clearly there. But, and this came up a lot, people felt a bit mentally disconnected from it all.
Right. The characters look cool as hell, but maybe not super memorable. And those really punchy story moments felt a bit few and far between for some. So you've got this amazing spectacle, but the story investment wasn't always there.
It's got this weird tone too, doesn't it? It's kind of cartoony, a bit goofy, but also trying to be super serious.
Exactly. Like a weird hellish sci-fi Power Rangers episode mixed with, an early 2000s game campaign. You got to respect the attempt, even if it feels a little odd.
And the Doomslayer himself still feels like the Doomslayer, right? Just this inhuman force of nature.
Totally consistent. A wrecking ball of rage. The game kind of talks him up like he's a god, this ultimate weapon against hell.
But then you play him, and he still feels like that gorilla and power armor, all brute force, maybe not the sharpest tool socially, but always right about killing demons.
Yeah, and some felt the game didn't quite get that, underlying joke about him.
Right. But even with all this extra story stuff, everyone agrees. It's still all about the gameplay.
Absolutely. You're in the Doom guy's boots, you're killing demons. That's the core. That's where it shines.
Though even the way the story is told got some flack. Like, maybe too many cutscenes for the actual substance?
Yeah, that came up. And abrupt transitions between missions, leaving you feeling a bit lost. Like, wait, where am I now? Why?
And the characters sometimes just felt like exposition dumps, or just waiting for you to fix everything. Not quite as dynamic as, say, Samuel Hayden back in 2016.
Definitely. The rule of cool does a lot of heavy lifting for the story. The whole campaign can feel a bit like loosely stitched together mini adventures rather than one cohesive journey.
Okay, so let's talk core gameplay. Because this is really the heart of it, the why it is what it is.
Right. And just like 2016 changed things up and Eternal changed things up again, The Dark Ages definitely feels distinct. It shakes things up.
It was all that pre-release talk, right? Boots on the ground, stand your ground, defensive options. It sounded like maybe something radically different, slower maybe.
Yeah, the expectation was maybe a huge shift. But honestly, it's still Doom, through and through.
Still fast then.
Oh yeah. You're juggling weapons, managing enemy types, sprinting like crazy. It's still super sweaty, very demanding combat. That core loop is absolutely there.
So what is the change then?
It's the mix. They've made some really fun, interesting changes, but they haven't lost sight of what Doom is. It feels like a blend. Maybe Eternal's complexity meets 2016's raw simplicity. But with this new feel,
it's
crunchier, punchier, a bit weightier. That feel is key.
And the shield is a huge part of that, I gather.
Massive. It's a big new tool, offense and defense. You can throw it, Captain America style.
Nice.
Rips through the small guys, stuns the big ones. You got a shield bash too. But the main thing is the parry.
The parry, right. Green attacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Enemies telegraph certain attacks, projectiles too, and you can deflect them right back. Starts simple, but when you've got waves coming at you,
it gets nuts.
It gets chaotic. People are calling it like a low-key bullet hell or ultra murder eternal. You're constantly reacting, managing these parries. And the shield evolves, it becomes central to how you fight.
And melee's bigger too.
Much bigger focus. You could do these multi-hit combos that lead straight into an execution. Feels more fluid, keeps you moving, less locked into those long animations.
Ah, okay. So less so like the old glory kills.
Yeah, and that's a big one. A really major point people talk about. The traditional cinematic glory kill system. Mostly gone. like 95% gone.
Wow.
And it's a trade-off, right? More flexibility, more mobility maybe.
You lose those super cool, brutal animations.
Exactly. A lot of people really missed that feeling, that visceral Slayer power moment. For some, it felt like a core part of modern Doom was just missing. Or maybe corners were cut. Some even compared it unfavorably to like Halo assassinations.
And the actual execution animation itself?
Often just a basic kick.
Yeah.
Which against a huge demon, it could look a bit silly, almost like bumper cars. Breaks the immersion a bit.
Okay, what about the guns? New toys?
Oh yeah, new weapons. There's the Impaler, this pulverizer skull thing, chain shot, a new spin on the BFG, a sort of beefier plasma rifle. And the cool thing is, some weapons transform on the fly.
Oh, like the shotgun turning into the super shotgun?
Exactly. Cleans up weapon swapping a bit, but
yeah,
the critique is maybe weapons feel a little less distinct overall.
How so?
Fewer alternate fire modes compared to the mods in the last games. Upgrades are often just boosting the main fire. Feels a bit less interesting. And the combat maybe leans a bit more arcadey, like more numerous fodder enemies, but they feel a bit weaker.
Gotcha. And then there are the vehicle sections. The Mech and the Dragon. Sounded amazing on paper.
So cool on paper, but the reality, kinda...
Just okay.
Just okay.
Not awesome.
The mech part is fine. Stomping demons, smashing buildings, it has that big Pacific Rim energy. It's simple, dumb fun, breaks things up. But the actual combat in the mech, super basic. Dodge, punch, super attack, gets old fast. Feels like generic video game stuff compared to the main combat.
And the dragon?
Looks incredible. Flying through those crazy hellscapes, awesome. But the gameplay loop is basically this repetitive dodging minigame. You stop, lock on, dodge, then shoot. Kills the feeling of being a badass dragon.
So cool ideas, but maybe execution wasn't quite as deep as the core combat.
Precisely. They serve as pacing breaks, but they don't quite match the fun factor of just being the Slayer on foot.
Right. Okay, level design and exploration. They mentioned bigger level submissions.
Yes, some levels feel significantly larger, almost like mini-hubs where you can choose which fights to take. Felt a bit weird at first, but mostly works. Maybe enemies feel a tad less aggressive in those huge spaces, but it's definitely not open world, just bigger arenas sometimes.
But the exploration still feels like Doom. Looking for secrets, armor, health.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Still running around, sniffing out secrets, key cards, plus new stuff like gold and rubies for upgrades. Taking down tougher hidden enemies for rewards. It definitely encourages you to explore, and that balance felt mostly right.
But there were critiques here too, right? About the design itself.
Yeah, quite strong ones actually. Words like dumbed down, less labyrinthine. Secrets feeling maybe too obvious, just look down or go left. A lot of levels felt flatter, more wide open, less of that complex verticality or environmental hazards that made the arenas in 2016 and Eternal feel like these intricate playgrounds to master.
And that ties into the missing movement options. No double jump, no dash, no grapple.
Exactly. That's a huge factor. Without those tools, the platforming and exploration just aren't as involved. Puzzles feel simpler. They added swimming, but it felt more like filler than anything substantial.
Interesting. And does that affect the pacing overall?
Some felt it did.
Yeah.
Like the game fills those potential quiet exploration moments with just more combat, which counterintuitively might make the combat feel more repetitive because you get fewer real breaks.
Okay, moving on. Music. Does it still slap?
It fits the vibe, yeah. It feels like Doom, gets you pumped.
Yeah.
Maybe not as instantly memorable as the last couple of soundtracks. Mick Gordon's absence was definitely noted by some. It gets the job done, but maybe doesn't hit those legendary highs. A bit of a letdown for some who really love the previous music.
But the art direction, that sounds like a slam dunk.
Oh, totally. Universal praise. Cool as hell, feast for the eyes, balls to the walls, Finging immaculate peak. Just visually stunning. Might be the best looking and most varied of the modern trilogy.
Yeah.
And crucially, it's clear enough for the fast combat.
So it looks amazing.
It really does. It's almost a shame sometimes that the incredible visuals aren't always matched by, equally amazing story moments or super complex level design. That disconnect again.
And technically, smooth sailing.
Mixed bag, actually. Some folks on high-end PCs said it ran almost perfectly, really polished. But others ran into pretty bad freezing and crashing issues, like right at the start, making it unplayable for them, even after trying fixes. Saw chatter online about that too.
Oh.
And apparently there's a seizure warning.
Good to know. And the difficulty. Still got that classic Doom challenge.
Seems like it. On Ultraviolence, it felt just right, according to one review. So veterans looking for that tough-as-nails experience should find it.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The honest take seems to be It's not perfect.
Yeah, it's not a 10-10 where every single thing is flawless. They tried stuff, and some of it didn't quite land for everyone. Aspects of the story, the vehicles being a bit shallow, missing the old glory kills and movement options, and how that impacted level design. Those are real critiques.
But despite all that, it's still a good Doom game.
Absolutely. Fundamentally, it's still a great video game adventure. The core combat is awesome. It's super fun moment to moment. People had a hell of a good time playing it. It definitely has that sauce, that Doom feel. It's a solid, satisfying entry. Delivers the demon-slaying goods.
So recommended then, especially for fans.
Definitely recommended. Jump in, especially if you love Doom. And maybe play it twice. Normal first, then crank it up. Might help you really get the hang of the new combat flow.
It does sound like this one might be a bit divisive, though. More so than 2016 or Eternal.
Quite possibly. Could be the most controversial of the three. Maybe years down the line, people will look back on it differently, like Doom 3. But right now, it feels like a shift, a new kind of Doom. Maybe simpler in some ways, that stand and fight idea. Less mobile, maybe tankier, fighting more numerous but weaker crowds. It wasn't quite what everyone expected or wanted after Eternal.
So, to recap our deep dive, Doom. The Dark Ages shakes things up. Big story focus, though maybe flawed for some. Core combat blends old and new with that weightier feel, the shield, the different melee.
Right. And the mixed results with the vehicles. The level design changes tied to losing mobility options. The impact of no traditional glory kills.
And that's why it is what it is, right? It's id Software experimenting again, trying to evolve the formula, give us a different flavor of Doom. New mechanics, different pacing breaks.
Even if those experiments don't land perfectly for every single fan who loved the specific feel of the last two games.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. With expectations so high after the last two games, can a sequel that makes big changes, some genuinely disappointing to fans, still be seen as a true success? Or is that rule of cool, combined with really solid core combat, enough to carry it into a new era of demon slaying? Something to think about.